Hi, my name is Amy Hancock, and I am a new USAV National Indoor Scorer. I earned my patch in Orlando in May of 2026, along with five other outstanding candidates: Mackenzie, Hunter, Rako, Daniela, and Sydney. For anyone considering pursuing National Indoor Scorer certification, or if you have questions, I just kind of wanted to share a few things that I've learned throughout the application, training, and evaluation process. I am an elementary school PE teacher by trade, and I often create Google slide decks to share games and ideas with other colleagues. For volleyball, I actually have a Google slide deck that I use for teaching kids and adults how to score on paper and volley station while using actual match footage, which I think is different than what most people usually do. You're going to be able to understand things better if you can actually watch a match instead of let's pretend team A scored 7 points in a row. All right, so let's hit this application process. The application window, I believe, opened in the fall, and you should be able to look at the USAV website and find information on indoor scoring. I don't remember when the deadline was, but I know that I got my application in really early. I wanted to do it. Um, I just wanted to knock it out because I'm a school teacher. I was officiating school ball to coaching. I just needed to get it done. Check with your region scoring chair for deadlines and ask them questions. If you don't know who your scoring chair is, you can look that up on the USAV website. My scoring chair's name is Trish. You will need an application that you fill out, including a letter explaining why you want to pursue this. I had my own reasons, which I won't share because you need to have your own reasons. But why are you passionate about this? Why do you want to do this? You'll also need signatures from your scoring chair and the commissioner for your region. And for our class of 2026, over 30 people applied and only 12 were accepted nationwide. So it is competitive, but don't let that discourage you. Okay, we had 6 of us that were accepted for the first session of opens, and then 6 that were accepted for evaluation on the second session of opens. So after you are accepted, you will receive coursework through USAV Academy with videos. You will need to submit a headshot. I used my volleyball club's club picture day to take pictures with my team, but then I went and changed into my ref uniform and took a photo in uniform. That's just what I did. Start preparing because evaluations will come faster than you think with your work and your family, and just life gets in the way, and before you know it, it's going to be here. You need to practice your paper scoring and volley station, study your rule book as much as you can. We're going to go into paper scoring first, okay? So for evaluation, you need to show proficiency in paper scoring and in volley station. What I have figured out is that even though my region started using, I'm in the Sun Country region, my region started using volley station quite a bit this year, but there are still many other regions in the country that are not using it. They're still doing paper. So you will be evaluated on paper and volley station. So let's talk about paper first. Uh, First off, national scorers will always use pen for all parts of the score sheet. Do not bring erasable pens. Do not bring pencils. Okay? I mean, I always have pencils in my bag for, whatever, but for scoring purposes, it's pen, baby. And I will link the pens that I bought off of Amazon. They are fine point and they have a nice weight and feel to them. I really love them. You will need a correction tape or whiteout because, again, since you're only scoring in pen, if you make a mistake, you need a whiteout. You'll also need a little ruler or a straight edge so you can make those T-bar lines nice and pretty. You'll need extra paper for verifying rosters. And I created the scoring journal, and I'm happy to share, and you're looking at it right now. And then you need to bring lineup sheets and libero control sheets. Always have those on you as the scorer. So let's go over roster management. First off, if there are paper rosters, we will never mark directly on those. The scorers should not, the officials should not. Okay, so you're going to copy the jerseys onto a separate sheet of paper, and that's what my journal is for. And then you're going to use that sheet to check in these players. So you can see I'm pretending I've sat at the table and I have checked in all of Next Level's players are there. All of Tribe's players except for number 21 are there. You need to stay seated and have the officials help you find the jersey numbers if you are missing some people. And sometimes the teams will wear warm-up tops, and the officials should make sure that those warm-up tops are removed so that we can see the jersey numbers as the scorers, and the officials can check for the legality of the jerseys. So procedures can vary by region on whether you should check or uncheck missing players on Volley Station. Follow local and event-specific expectations concerning the rosters. For nationals, we were told not to uncheck players who were not there in case they came back or they came later. But in my region, we were unchecking players who were not there. Okay, staying organized was really huge for me. So I created my scoring journal. It has 50 pages on it, front and back, so I can do 100 matches before I'm going to need to go get another one printed. And so before every match, I record using the Alpha and the Grid spreadsheets. If you have done national events with USAV, you know exactly what that is. Okay. Go to your Alpha. So you're going to find your name by last name, and you're going to be able to see the court and the time that you are going to be scoring at. And then when you go to the grid, okay, the court grid, you'll see that, okay, the first official is S. Williams, the second official is P. Mahomes. You may not know their first name, so you're going to have to flip back over to the Alpha and see, okay, Williams's first name is Serena, Mahomes' first name is Patrick. Okay. Now, if you know who is playing, if it's on the first couple of days of the tournament, you know who's playing, go ahead and write down any information you can get. If you're using Volley Station, you can find those rosters pretty quickly, get the names written, get the numbers written. If by chance they get on the court and they were on the other side, I just do a little notation like that, but I'm going to remember that they switch sides. It's not a big deal. But by writing down all of these numbers, I am saving myself time. Okay, national level scorers prepare before they even step onto the court. So you will see them sitting in the officials' lounge, writing the information that they need. So for me, each page is a match. So I fill out this information right here, and then I flip over for my next match and fill that out. And then all the way down. If I do 7 matches a day, I've got 7 matches with date, court, and time and the officials at the bare minimum. Bare minimum, that. So when this match is over, then I just flip over to the next page and I've got that next match information ready to go. Okay, so preparation just kind of reduces stress once the match starts, because if you're scoring 2 or 3 matches in a row, all of this that you do ahead of time just means less work for you to have to do in between those next matches. Okay, so you have verified the rosters, coin toss has happened, and next level had to serve. Okay, so I put a spot for you to circle who the serving team was. I'm doing that for me because sometimes in the middle of doing all of this other stuff, right? And it can be just easy for you to forget who had the court first, so on and so forth. So I put that there for me. If you don't need it, you don't use it. Okay? And now we have our lineup sheets turned in over here. And so before we record those lineups on the score sheet, you can see I already have the lineups recorded on the score sheet. That's because this score sheet was already made. Okay. But before you record those lineups, we're going to verify that these people on this lineup sheet are actual people that have been verified on the roster. Okay, so let's go through tribe. For the first set, we got 15, 16, 2, 88, 7, 25. Libero's number 23. Okay, and I always write down who the captain is, and let's say 16 was leaving or going to sub out at some point, and they have an alternate captain listed as 7. I just put it down there. If you're doing volley station, the app will cue you, say who's the new floor captain, but in paper it doesn't cue you, so you need to be mindful of that. Let's take a look at, and then tribe had one coach on the bench. Okay, let's look at next levels. We've got 17, 51, 6, 13, 11. Libero is 20. And then Natasha was the coach on the bench. It was just her. Her assistant wasn't there that weekend. Okay, so now we have that done. Anybody that doesn't have like a dash or an L, that means they are an available sub. Okay, so we have to write our available subs down over on the score sheet. Okay, so let's get that done. For next level, their roster was really small that weekend. Their available sub was number 3, Logan. Okay, so we're going to write it right there. Okay, now for tribe, they had a larger roster. They had more available subs. So we're going to put 1, 8, 17, 21. And then you can also go ahead and enter all of this stuff, right? Lineups, liberos, captains, all that other stuff, right? As a quick reminder, liberos are not available substitutes. So you do not write the libero number down in the available sub. They are not an available sub. And then you want to keep your markings neat and inside the boxes and the circles. Okay, so let's go over that real quick. First off, X's need to fill the whole box, right? So my X should fill up the entire box. See? And then same thing for your libero. See how I kind of went outside the line like that? Okay, we don't want that. Okay? Take up the entire box. And it's a little harder because I'm on a Chromebook and this is not the size of a normal score sheet that I'm drawing on. But again, you can take those little bitty X's right there, keep them inside the circle, okay? And then when you do your tally marks, okay, let's see, you do your subs, okay, if you start getting like sloppy like that, okay, that doesn't look good. It doesn't look neat. Okay, you want your page to look neat, right? Let's have some dignity. Okay, let's write neat little slashes like that. Same thing with point tallies. You don't want to go outside the line Okay, that doesn't look good. Okay, keep it neat, sister and brothers. Alrighty, so the T-bars, you're going to want to use your straight edge. Okay, I'm not using a straight edge on a Chromebook right now, but you want to do it as straight as possible all the way down top to bottom. It's not bad considering I didn't use a ruler or anything. But what I've learned is that there are no small things. And so being neat and tidy with your score sheet is helpful. All right, let's move on to communication with your officials. Okay, so this is something that I always do, and this is just my experience. So other national scorers may have different experiences. I always introduce myself to the R1 and R2, and I discuss communication preferences with the R2. Okay, I'm always going to show with my hands how many timeouts are used. Uh, does the second official want substitution counts? You know, do a timeout. Next level use one. Tribe has used 0 timeouts. Next level has used 1 sub. Tribe has used 5 subs. And then also noting with your hand signals if your liberos are in or out on the court. Some of the second officials, they don't really want that information. Bare minimum, they want to know the timeouts used for sure. But, just communicate with them what they need. I score out loud. That is just my process. I let the R2 know that I talk out loud when I score, but it's more of me as the scorer keeping the assistant scorer and the scoreboard flipper on the same page. And if I need the R2, I will speak a little louder. I will turn my head and direct my voice to them. Okay, but you will hear me say, okay, number 17 on next level is serving. Point next level, score 1-0. Side out tribe, exit score 1. Point tribe scores 1-1, server 16. Okay, so that's just how I am. Let's go over substitution communication. So when you're on paper scoring, you tend to want to know who's going in and then who's going out verbally. So for next level on paper scoring, we would say number 3 is going in for number 1. But on volley station, you tend to want to know who's going out first. So volley station would be 1 for 3. So I always communicate with my second official that if they can remember to call the out person first when using volley station, that's helpful. It's just our senior level refs that have been around for so long, they're used to saying who's going in first. So before the first serve, you want to do a final lineup check. So look at your serving order, make sure everybody's in the right spot, and you're going to record that official start time when the play starts. Remember that if the match is scheduled for 8 a.m., like the first match of the day, you write 8 a.m. as the start time, even if it started earlier, because technically you're not supposed to start early. And then let's see here. So for paper scoring, a funny personal note, I actually practice my handwriting before opens. I just printed off some handwriting sheets. Being a school teacher, I have access to stuff like that. And that's probably a little extra, but if you know me, you know me. And then tracking the substitutions. So first off, whenever we track, we're going to do a sub. you first need to check and make sure that that sub is available. Okay, so let's say that number 21 for tribe is going in for number 25. Okay, so we're going to show that 21 is available. We're going to mark them out. 21's going in for 25. Let's say the score was 2 for tribe, 7 for next level. Tally the sub, pin down, hands up. Okay, and so you always mark out that available sub. Now we know that 21 has been in the game, because what happens if all of these players have come in? You've got a lot of writing going on right here. What happens if 21 gets mixed up and tries to go in for number 2 when they've already been established in the 6th spot of the serving order? Okay, so always check that that sub is actually available. Okay, get that, back that up. There we go. And another thing is recording delays and remarks. Okay, so let's say that first off, when we write in remarks, we do all caps, just like everything else on a score sheet. Everything is all caps. So match delayed due to previous match. You can see that our match was scheduled for 1700 hours, but it started at 1712. That's actually not bad, but it's still delayed start. Okay, so I'm going to write just like that. Okay. And then also you might have to time other things. Let's say that there was, an injury and it was taking a long time to get the player off the court. Or let's say there was a blood on the court and you've got to wait for a cleaning person to come and clean it up. Or somebody spilled a water bottle and water went everywhere and you've got to wait for custodial staff to come and clean it up. You need to time that. Okay, so I had a match in Amarillo where there was 2 spills, and it ended up causing a 6-minute delay. Okay, so I will just write that in there as an example. There you go. Okay, so that is our paper scoring.